Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be using our new Jack O stencil, and we're going to make a fun little Halloween project here. What I've got here is a piece of canvas that you can get at any fabric store and one of the DIY art blanks. Start by painting this first. I've already gone ahead and put some stencil glue on this, and you want to wait until it comes tacky. You don't put it on and then have at it. You got to wait until it starts getting a little sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on the canvas. And I'm going to start with DIY Summer Crush. Great fall or Halloween color. So I'm going to use this face for this project. So I'm not going to do the stem, and I want to get rid of these because the top hat will come down here. So I'm just going to put a piece of painter's tape right across here so I don't paint that part. It doesn't matter if you paint it and then you can paint over because we're going with a darker color, but this will just make it a little easier. So I'm using a stencil brush, and I'm just coming in here. Make sure you have something down behind when you're doing through fabric, because you don't want to paint your dining room table. I know you're like, you always say that. I know I'm not going to paint my dining room table. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten started with a project and I'm like, get excited, and I'm like, okay, let's have at this, and I don't put things down. So I'm talking more from my own experience. Learn from my mistakes, please. We're just pouncing. Now, in the middle of this, because there's so much wide open, you can take a regular like foam brush and just come in here and paint. The reason why I am doing it around the edges is because I don't want the paint to bleed under. But since we have so much open space here in the middle, we'll just go ahead and do some regular painting with a paintbrush. Now that I got the middle done, I'm going to go back to my stencil brush. And just get the paint along the edge here. While I'm waiting for the canvas to dry, I'm going to go ahead and paint the art blank, and I'm spraying it down with some water because it's so absorbent. And we're going to... This is Old School, which is a kind of a cool gray black. It when it dries lighter, but it's kind of like, you know, the old-fashioned chalkboards that are really dark and kind of funky. Yeah, it's just a really cool dark black gray. So I don't want this whole thing to be black, but I'm going to go about a little bit over 2/3 up. So now I want to start introducing a little bit of white. And for that, I am using DIY White Swan. And I'm going to just spray down my foam brush and dip it into the paint. I'm going to spray this down a little bit more. I just kind of want to start blending this. And you're going to take the white down through the black, and you're going to bring the black up through the white up here, so you get a lighter gray. And you're just going to keep kind of blending it until you get it the way you'd like it to look. I like kind of these streaks that I've got going through there. I don't think I want it to be perfectly blended. This is really kind of a personal choice thing, but play with it. Did it tell you, you say, oh, I really like that. I'm going to add a little bit more black again. Because I think I want the bottom of this just a smidge darker. And this whole thing will dry lighter because I'm using the mineral DIY paint, and it dries lighter than when you put it on. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, right about there. So as I was touching up my sides, some of the black came over the edge, and I'm going to leave it because I think that's kind of a cool effect. So we'll see once it dries what it looks like, but right now I'm going with it. So our pumpkin is now dry. So now what I want to do is I want to put my face on here. Got one of the foam pouncers. I'm just going to scrape a little bit of the paint on it off of it because I don't want too much. And I'm just going to pounce on here. So I just realized my hat's too low. I actually wanted it up higher. But I'm going to just go ahead and move forward with this. But just pay attention to your hat placement. It's actually down too low. All right. Now, I would like his eyebrows to also be that color. So I'm just going to take the edge of this and just kind of go in there. So next, I want to do the nose. I'm going to use the black also for that. And then we're going to do the mouth. And then the eyes. And for the cheeks, I'm going to do some pink. I've got petticoat pink here. I'm just going to wipe it off so there's not a whole lot. Now, while that's still wet, I think I want to just put a smidge of white. And I'm going to just grab another brush, but I don't want it to be a lot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a little bit of water on my finger, and then I'm going to just put a little bit of that paint on there, and then I'm going to offload that paint so I don't have a whole lot on there, and just kind of give it a little bit of a dollop of white, just as kind of like a highlight. While I still have the white, I'm going to take the brush now that I'm actually going to use the brush, and I'm just going to go very carefully on the outside of this line. And then I'm going to take, I have a baby wipe in my hand. I'm just going to kind of. So next what I want to do is I'm going to lift this, and we'll see what we got. Oh, isn't he cute? I love him. So in the center, I want white of his eyes. So I'm just going to take the paintbrush and give him a little bit of white. I'm going to find a teeny tiny brush, or maybe I'll use this. This is a dotting tool, and you can get them at the dollar store, and they're great for doing small detail. Actually, I think I want the smaller side, and it's two-sided. So I'm just going to use it like a paintbrush with my very shaky hand. And you could use this for also doing the mouth. I want maybe a white band through here. I'm going to be careful, try to be careful and not touch what's wet. Just getting just a smidge of paint on my brush. So both the artboard and my pumpkin are dry now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut him out now and get rid of the excess fabric. And I'm probably just going to cut with a little bit showing. Now this is really personal preference. If you want to do it this way, you could cut right up to the paint if you wanted to. But I want a little bit because I want him to look kind of funky and old fashioned. So now what I want to do is I'm going to fringe this a little bit. You're just taking your fingernail and you're just kind of pulling some of this. Now, if you don't like this look, you can skip this step. And the other thing you could do if you want them to look even more old-fashioned is you could take like some coffee or leftover tea and just take a paintbrush and go along the edge here. And that would darken this edge up and make it look even more antique-y. So just setting him down on this would be fine, but I feel like we need some background for him. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some black velvet and I'm going to spray my brush. I'm going to spray it off camera there so it's nice and wet, and then dip into my black, and I'm going to hold the brush like this, and I'm just going to go along and just kind of roll this. I might have put a little too much water. But you're laying it down and you're just kind of rolling it, making some branches. And if you want, you can check it and just see how that's starting to look. That's looking pretty good. I want to continue with this guy. And you don't have to do full branches. You can just do like nubbies, and sometimes the branches come downward. But as long as you're laying your brush flat, you should get some nice branches. That looks pretty good. All right. So before we glue him down, you can decide if you want to add some like foliage at the bottom, which I think I'm inclined to do. This is a stem from Michael's that I picked up. Or the dollar store also has different things. These came off of this, or something like this, or, you know, this also came off of the dollar store one. So I'm going to go ahead and get him glued down. I'm just going to use some tacky glue. All right, and then I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to get it up to the edges here. Get him flipped over, a little bit of room at the bottom. I think I'm going to use this bigger leaf and I'm going to have it go off. Actually, I think because that's so big, I'm going to create this into a smaller leaf. That just seems very natural like that. So let's cut that. Yeah, that works better. that is it for our project today. If you have any questions, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.